Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and it's just Dylan and myself tonight.
It's us.
Yeah, I say
Dream Team.
This is obviously coming out in the morning time, and I know I just said tonight, so I mean, whatever time you actually listen to this, but
If it's dark outside, it's night.
yes. Thanks for your observation.
For all you technicality nerds out there,
For all you that don't know the times.
we don't play by your rules.
Oh, man.
What's it, almost 2 in the morning over here?
Yeah, I mean, we're clutching. We're
About.
You know, we're getting close.
Yeah.
How you been? Everything been okay this past week?
I was okay. Now I'm feeling under the weather and everything's bad.
Don't you be bringing no virus into my house, buddy.
If it's a virus, it's self-contained to just me, non-communicable.
That's good.
Thankfully.
Let's try and keep it that way.
Oh, of course.
Only thing I ask, please.
I'll be sure to smear germs everywhere I can.
Oh, no, don't do that. Well, so we talked about last week on the episode, we talked about how we wanted to have like a few episodes like kind of in the chamber, the ones that we wanted to watch, you know, hey. So Ethan, Dylan, and myself all talked about the movies that we wanted to kind of have like preloaded, like and ready to go.
Anything and everything in the queue.
Yeah, I want to try and have like a few to look ahead, like a roadmap, kind of like what's the plan ahead, kind of a little bit. Nothing too crazy. We came up with 3 last week, one of which being the one we watched tonight recently, and it was Kong Skull Island. Oh, buddy. That was a pretty good movie.
Wasn't bad.
I didn't think it was going to be bad. I didn't think it, I wasn't going into it with like, you know, like a negative outlook on it.
It didn't get much negative press. I only ever heard good things about it.
That's good. I vaguely remember it coming out, and I just now realized tonight that I was getting 2 confused. Mm-hmm. The Peter Jackson one you were telling me about, and this one.
Yeah.
I think this one kind of slipped my radar because I was in the process of trying to move to Canada when it came out, I think.
Right. That one was, I mean, circumstances aside, that it was pretty overlooked, I felt. Like, I want to say, of course I got excited when I figured out that they were making one, but I just sort of forgot about it after a while.
Yeah.
Until I was able to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie.
I liked it.
Yeah. As far as bringing that character back goes, they did it pretty well, I feel like.
And I think I guess like the full compass of all of it was really, like the whole package together was really nice.
Oh, yeah. With a bow on top.
Yes, I'm not going to say I'm a how would you say, like an expert?
He's a budding kaiju fanatic.
Yes,
slowly bringing him into the fold.
I've seen enough big monster movies, good and bad and otherwise.
Of course.
And this one was among one of the better ones.
Just to preface, I've been slowly parading him through the Godzilla franchise.
Yes.
Which ones have we watched so far?
The newest ones.
Let's test your memory here.
Okay, so 2016?
2014.
2014. I'm always a little bit off. The Godzilla movie.
Oh, yes.
Which kind of started off this...
Legendary Monsterverse is what they're calling it.
Really?
Yes.
That's good. I like that name.
Mm-hmm.
So kicking off this Legendary Monsterverse, quote unquote.
That is insane to me.
Yeah.
How the fuck did it ever get to this point? We're living in the best timeline.
Yes.
This is one of the few redeeming factors of our species right now, I feel like.
Awesome.
That Godzilla is still making his way into the mainstream and not just dying off.
Yeah. Well, I got started. I think I've told this story before, at least on the podcast once or twice, I think.
You might have.
We're
all about retreading territory, folks.
Yes.
Like it or not, you're along for the ride.
started off with Godzilla, King of Monsters, which came out.
Oh God, that was the first one.
That was the first one.
Holy shit!
And we watched it in theaters, and you were like, "This is gonna be kind of crazy. You're probably not gonna know what the hell's going on, but just buckle up."
Oh my God, you didn't know a damn thing.
I didn't know a thing, and the thing
I just
is,
invited you on a whim. I was like, you don't probably like this, right?
Yeah. And again,
I got no one else to see it with.
And when I told you, I was like, I don't think I know anything, and you're like, I'm not gonna say anything. You didn't spoil anything.
Yep.
You were like, I've heard some things about the movie, and I'm just gonna go in with just average expectations to watch a cool movie. And I did that, and I came out going, what did I just watch? That is a beauty.
It's the best thing you could have done, honestly.
Yes. And I enjoyed every minute of it.
I'm glad you didn't have the expectational stigma that anyone hearing the name Godzilla might.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a wild ride, and I enjoyed every minute of it. There was moments where I was like, anyways, we don't got to go into the details. So I ended up watching that, loving it, and was like, Godzilla.
I need more.
This Legendary Monsterverse, Godzilla is my big boy. I don't know. I think I know for a fact I've said that before.
Beautiful creature.
See, he's so cool looking. He just is.
Shunned for being a little too plump, some have said.
He's been hibernating for what?
Yeah, the motherfucker's always been a little chunky.
That's all right.
Especially in the thighs.
Yeah.
Godzilla, are you fucking serious?
You got a lot of room to talk. I bet you could lose a couple pounds, bub, over here.
Yeah. Who the fuck are you to say?
That's what I'm talking about. You get off my lawn. Anyways, I don't know where that came from.
Don't you dare disrespect.
Yeah. You're talking to my Zilla? Or I shouldn't say that. That's a bad word.
Big G.
Yeah, the big G.
Zilla is...
Yeah, it's a
beneath notice.
I know I am cultured enough to know what that is, and that's not a thing.
I made sure.
Thank you.
1998, fucking disgrace to my birth year.
But then I ended up watching some of the older ones. I can't remember what the second one we watched was.
The second one was Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
Really?
Yes, the Millennium one.
Wow, that feels like so long ago.
Yeah, that was a while. That was a long fucking time ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, didn't King of Monsters come out in 2019?
I want to say,
yeah.
Yeah,
like,
it was 2019.
It was like an after summer, or like, I don't know, or I think it was before Christmas time.
Can't remember the exact date. Definitely before Christmas.
It's been almost a year.
Yeah,
but regardless, started me on this kick, and we've been slowly but surely sprinkling all the great Godzilla movies in there, and I've seen a handful of them.
I was lucky enough to pick up the Toho collection of most of the Heisei movies, and I believe all of the Millennium movies at Walmart one day, and I had never busted it out, only for myself until just recently, whenever I had started getting everybody else into it.
Yeah, and of course it was... there are some gems. Something. There are some gems in there.
They're all gems, Ian.
From a bygone era.
Oh, yes.
And yes.
The camp.
Yeah.
The cheese.
Oh, man.
Aged to perfection.
But yes, so I was saying all that to say that, again, after getting through a large... I say that. I got through a handful of Godzilla.
Had a handful
of Godzilla movies.
I won't say chunk, but
yeah,
definitely a handful.
Got it. I was like, you told me there is a 2014 like the Godzilla movie that kind of started this whole thing off.
Yes,
and I was
the
like,
reboot.
I was like, wait a minute. So that's another movie I need to watch now.
Of course.
And then so we watched that one, and man.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It is so good.
I don't think we made a because we didn't do the podcast when I watched that.
No, we
but
didn't.
That was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it. And then, again, another little sprinkle in time. At some point, you were like, also, there is a bridge. There's a second movie. It's like, again, there's
the missing link.
There is a trifecta right now going on, and it is going to be a series of movies like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right. That's the easiest comparison you could make to this stuff. Besides just being like a film franchise, I mean, they're calling it the Monsterverse. Of course, they're going to try to capitalize on that.
They're all kind of tied in together, and I think it's cool. I mean, some of it's probably a bit a bit much, and you can tell they're probably trying to grab money.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's done by Legendary.
Oh, of course.
And if there is a handful
They've
of
done good
movies,
work.
there's a handful of movies that I've seen in my life that have been like really great movies. Legendary has most likely had a hand in them.
The first Pacific Rim.
Oh my God,
So good.
And these Monsterverse movies,
Mm-hmm.
I've watched the first Godzilla, I watched King of Monsters, and now Kong Skull Island, and it is among those movies of like, wow.
Yeah.
You can probably sit there and like watch it a couple times and nitpick a few things.
Oh, of course.
But just first run of it, beautiful movie.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematography, okay, so I'm just going to go
Well put together.
Yes. I'll
be the first to admit that they aren't. This really only applies to King of the Monsters for me. That one was a bit of a mixed bag. What I did love about it is how much fan service they put into that.
Oh,
damn
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
The original themes
Yeah.
for all the monsters, even the new ones I liked a bit.
Yeah.
Especially Rodan's with those fucking drums, dude.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think what they probably did was they got the first two out,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, let's just make good movies. Let's get a good couple baseline, and then we'll throw in
Go full camp.
Yeah, we'll go real wacky with one, and then I think, for those of you who may not know, there is a fourth movie coming out. Hopefully,
I fucking
soon
hope so.
It's coming out at some point,
So badly.
and it is going to be Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes.
And it is going to be. I think it's going to be cool.
Like, of course, I just got finished telling you how much of a fucking phenomenon that was back in the day.
Yeah.
Two classic, like, revered movie monsters duking it out.
Yeah, yeah. And you're like, oh no.
Like, they're going for it again. I don't know why they didn't already.
Yeah.
It's just, you might as well just be printing money.
Really?
It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah,
like, who wouldn't want to see this fucking movie?
Yeah. So I'm
do.
I'm excited for it, and I think it's going to be great. Like I said, I'm going in it with the same expectations that I have for all the other ones. That I think it's going to be a great movie. I'm not expecting to I'm not expecting to go in there and have my socks blown off.
No.
I'm not expecting to have my life changed or my perspective on something altered.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go in there and watch a good quality movie and want to watch some big monsters smack each other around a little bit.
Part of me wants them to put the good movie motive first.
Yeah.
The other part of me doesn't fucking care and just wants to see.
Your inner 13-year-old boy is like, I just want to see him smack down.
I don't give a fuck if this is a good movie or not. I just want to see Kong throw a rock or shove a tree down Godzilla's throat, like in the old one.
Yes.
They have to bring that joke back. There was already a nod to it in Kong.
Really?
Yeah, he picked a tree up and just, shaved all the branches off, used it as a fucking wax stick.
Oh, I love it.
He's got the motives down, man.
Yeah, it's great.
He just needs a bigger target.
So let me get into some of the stuff that I had written down. First thing on the list, from the credits at the top, they had some big name actors.
Oh yeah.
Now
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh my, the man.
The motherfucker.
If there ever was a guy that can just do anything or play any role,
it's him.
It's Samuel L. Jackson. Mr. Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yes.
My goodness gracious. In this movie, there was even just at the top of the movie, if there was a few scenes that he was in that I wrote it down because I was like, I just wrote his name down, just Samuel. That's all I did. Because I was like, that is case in point enough.
He is a topic.
He is a colonel of this special helicopter
unit.
Yeah, and boy, does he play it well.
Oh yeah.
Just this crass, just grizzled, military-looking dude, and he just fits the part like he does any other part.
It really starts to mesh into that old. I don't want to. The stereotype of the crazy Vietnam veteran.
Yeah.
Which of course is unfortunate, but I mean, it works in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, well, of course.
I feel like he had the right mindset to play into that role. It was pretty good.
It was just he did a really great job.
Oh, yeah.
And of course also Tom Hiddleston, and I also wrote down John C. Reilly.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the girl's name, like the kind of like lead girl. I can't remember her name. But regardless, again,
wasn't it?
Great job though. On all of them, on all of these big name actors, as you'd imagine.
I want to say it was Brie Larson.
You'll probably get comments at some point.
I'm sure I'm wrong. Any statement that comes out of my mouth, I automatically have to assume is wrong. Someone out there is going to let me know.
Yeah.
Thanks, by the way, whoever you are.
Yeah. You're welcome. On their behalf.
Of course. It's more of a fuck you, I'd say, but whatever.
But how do we put it into words?
I don't know, Ian. That's what we're supposed to do on this show, isn't it?
I know, you're right. Oh, goodness gracious. Like, there was moments when, like, you could see the character motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was doing, like, acting school once upon a time, humble brag.
Of course.
They always taught in, like, the film side of stuff. They were always like...
Forgot to take a shot.
Oh, is that right? Oh, is that...
With Sean, it's Boy Scouts. With you, it's acting school. I'm
really?
Sure.
Mine's always Canada.
Yeah,
anytime I ever bring up...
Oh, my God. Oh, Canada.
Every time I bring up Canada, they always get pissed off with me. It was a very formidable time in my life. Don't make fun of me, all right?
I'm not making fun. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no. I talk about it enough. I know. Anyways, so they were always talked about subtext, which, again, is like the telling a story without saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can say lines and you can... do physical motions or gestures or whatever to get your point across. But like,
right.
If someone can look at you with your eyes and read it on your face and go, that's what's going on in his mind.
Yeah.
That's what, and I think that's the part I was trying to put into words.
Mm-hmm.
There was moments where like you would look at Samuel L. Jackson's character and go like, oh, I know what's happening.
Oh, he's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Just a little bit.
He's losing it.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, oh, man. And it just made for such a good character.
Yeah. They do a lot of good visual and environmental storytelling.
Yeah. I also have one here, the cinematography. There's certain shots that were like lit in certain ways. Mm-hmm. Oh, I also forgot, and I feel so bad for forgetting this. John Goodman's in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
The good man. He's in the movie.
Not that he lasts very long, to be fair. I'm not going to hold that against you, but I love the guy.
Oh, he's just such a...
good man.
Yeah. He's just a good man.
Yep.
What more could you say?
True to his name.
Yeah. I've always felt like he's just been like just a dad. Like a good dad character, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
I know that probably is from Roseanne or some kind of other show that just has him in that, probably so from years and years.
Just fits that archetype so well.
Yeah, but I don't know. And so in this movie, he's like I wouldn't say crazy, but
he could pull it off.
Yeah,
he does crazy well. Have you ever seen 10 Cloverfield
Oh
Lane?
my God! I was just gonna say, dude, you want to talk about a movie we should watch again?
The only movie I'm scared of John Goodman.
Yes, he did such a great job in that movie.
Oh yeah,
man. Anyways, so there are certain shots, like the one where they're in the club in Vietnam or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it's shot with that red and that blue light. Mm-hmm. There's like it was just, the lighting was so well.
It's the scene.
Oh, man. And, of course, the mixture, obviously, of the special effects and the digital artists and all that stuff is already
great stuff.
Top notch. But just like the shots themselves, there was a few of them with the helicopters and with...
Oh, dude.
With the sweeping landscape. And
shot composition was on point.
That's what I'm talking about, dude. It was just... That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. It may not be the best movie in the world, but you look at it and you go...
That's pretty.
This is pretty.
That's good looking.
Whoever is behind this knows what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
He's done this once or twice. He or she has done this once or twice. And that's what I'm talking about.
Like following shots in front of the bombs at seismic charges.
Yes.
As they're dropping them from the helicopters.
Yes.
That was good stuff.
Yeah. He just chucks it out and the camera's falling, looking up at the bomb that is like falling down, and like there's like fans that open up and spin around really fast, and it was quality.
Not to mention trailer shot Kong's silhouette in front of the rising sun.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Every time the silhouette shows up, you're like, this is a big monster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Plenty of shots.
Yes.
Just emphasizing how fucking big he is.
I don't know why I love like the smoke, haze, and then just like figure coming from the haze. You're just like, oh, it's so menacing.
Oh,
yeah. There's a couple
just standing there.
There's just a couple moments
menacingly.
There's a couple of moments like that where it's still, it's quiet, nothing's around, and then from the fog, the Kong arises, and you're just like, oh my God,
King.
I'm going to die here.
I'm just going to preemptively bow my head and not move.
Yeah.
Pay my respects.
Just like with most movies, again, of this caliber, they did a really good job with the set, like the time setting.
Mm-hmm.
It was set in like 73, give or take, around Vietnam.
At the end of the war.
Yeah, exactly. And they did a really good job of like, they did a really good job for the military side of things.
Yeah,
with
the
like
visual style.
Yeah.
Definitely helped was the music.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Old school classics.
Yeah. I think that the probably like the main actors, like the civilian side, weren't like, as far as like dress goes, was probably not like period appropriate, but it's not like it really mattered. It was like t-shirt and pants kind of stuff, but it just didn't.
Just
but there was
basic things.
Yeah, but you looked at like the military crew, the helicopters, the weapons. You looked at it and you're like, yeah, that looks like it's Vietnam-esque looking stuff. And then of course also it tied in the actual like when you're off the Skull Island, quote unquote, and you saw like the world around you. They had like period appropriate cars, and like it was just like a lot of those like little things that kind of brought it all together and made you feel like this is in the 70s.
They did their homework.
Yeah, the technology, the big chunky radios, the whole like all that nonsense. It's so cool. I think they did a really good job with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down this because I loved the quote. So in our group of friends, this is probably a little bit of a tangent, but I'll just go ahead and sprinkle it in there.
Oh yeah.
I used to watch Craig Ferguson all the time on the Late Late Show.
Oh God.
And there was a tangent that he went on with like his co-host, and it was "Careful, Icarus." And it's talking about the old is like Roman or
Greek.
It's one of those like
they're interchangeable at this point.
It's one of those parables
I can never
in history
remember which is which.
Where father, I think, gives his son wings made of wax and feathers.
Like an idiot.
But of course, is like, you can fly forever, but just don't get too arrogant and fly too close to the sun.
Whatever, Dad.
Yeah, of course.
Fuck you.
Flies too close to the sun, his wings melt. And
oh no, my hubris.
Yeah, exactly. And so, of course, anytime we always get a little haughty or arrogant or whatever, we always just look at each other and go, "Careful, Icarus." And so in this, there's a moment where they start to fly through the storm cloud to get to the island, and it's like
the colonel recounts the tale.
Oh, and he says the whole tale while the freaking there's like 8 helicopters just rumbling around in the storm, purple lightning. It looks like
reassuring his men that their wings are not made of wax.
Yes, exactly.
And in fact, steel.
Yes. But we're also part of the American army, and we don't have that kind of hubris. We're going to plow through it.
Who the fuck cares?
Exactly.
And so, rain never killed nobody.
And so I just thought I had to write that down just because I was like, a nice little nod to our friend group.
Yeah. They know us, We're famous.
Yeah, of course.
That nod was for us.
Yeah. There's also just like a few lines that again, talking about what Samuel L. Jackson's character did with that moment. But he also, there's a moment where after they make it through so many casualties, all the helicopters are gone, as you'd imagine, like right as like the second act of the movie starts. You have John Goodman, which is like the guy who's going to start this whole expedition. The whole reason why we're out here. And he's just sitting there with like a branch or something, whatever, kind of like as a cane, or I don't know what it is.
Jackson walks up to him like, "Hey, how you doing? Are you okay?"
Yeah. He sits down and just pulls out a gun and just holds it right there at him. And then his words exactly were, "You're going to tell me what I don't know, or I'm going to blow your head off."
Yeah.
I was like, what? But again,
and he did. As any sane person would.
Yes, exactly.
You don't argue
when
with
you look
Jackson.
when you look at a man like that, and that's the kind of stuff I was talking about as well. Like you could just see when he said that,
he hits you with that motherfuckerly stare.
And he'll hit you with those eyes, and you're like,
like, all right,
I know this is a movie, and I know he's acting, but if that happened to me,
Shit.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what you don't know, but I'm going to tell you everything.
Yep. I don't care if you don't know it or not.
This movie was also like brutal. There was a few.
This Moodle was brutal.
I got ahead of myself. Thank you very much, Dylan.
As you often do. I'm sorry. You give me too many opportunities.
Oh, what was that?
Nothing. Nothing. It was nothing. I speak perfectly.
Yes, exactly.
Speak English goodly, I do.
Yes. But I was saying it's brutal. There's a few moments in the movie where like everything feels fine, and then like someone just gets
obliterated,
thrashed. You're like, you
can't have it linger.
Of course, no.
There must be chaos and carnage.
Exactly. Like
lest the world be thrown into on imbalance.
Yes. Quite. Like the scientist that just was like getting so scared and wanted to get home so bad.
Oh my God.
We're just on the boat.
That poor motherfucker.
We're on the boat, peaceful, nothing's happening, and then there's a bird swoops him up.
Yep.
And then to add insult to injury, 4 or 5 birds get him, and then one of them just cuts his arm off, and you're like, what is going on? And of course everyone's like, he's gone.
Cuts away after that point. Of course there's nothing they're gonna do to help him.
Yeah. At least they
should have walked out onto the boat.
They show you with subtext again, like there's a point where one of the military guys is trying to aim to shoot them, but of course because they're fluttering around, it's like, I'm gonna shoot him, and it's like,
yeah.
So again, they
I don't have a shot.
Yeah, which I mean,
it's totally not because I hate him and I wanted him to die.
Yeah, but then of course after he says that, it's like, I can't get a clean shot on him or whatever. It's like,
well,
like,
sorry.
It's like, oh man,
I guess you're just dead now.
Yep, that's what that is.
Yep.
Freaking Chaplin, that was sad.
Oh, Chaplin,
I felt so bad.
Dear Billy. I'm fucking dead.
They had to hit you hard with the whole son comment.
Yeah.
They have a reoccurring thing. He's like trying to write home to his son Billy, and they kind of make fun of him for it for a second in like a loving, joking way.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of gets brought up a handful of times. And I felt bad because I was like, this is not gonna,
like, that's just
this is foreshadowing.
A death flag already.
This is foreshadowing, and I don't like it.
Yep.
And he's in the woods and just gets gobbled up out of nowhere, and you're like, no, dude, not Chaplin.
Yep. Eaten by a lizard.
Yeah. Oh man, at this point in the movie, like once you get like maybe like halfway, 3/4 in, John C. Reilly pops up out of nowhere.
The most,
oh man,
like the last inclusion I was expecting. Of course, I saw him in the trailers and I was like, what the fuck? What's John C. Reilly doing in a fucking King Kong movie?
Yes, and it's like. Again, they tell you this at the beginning of the movie. They tell you like to show you that Kong is alive and real and is a thing that's going on.
Flashback to 1944.
Yes, and again, you think in the moment you're like, oh, it's just like to kind of give you, to introduce to you the main character of this movie.
But no,
the people that crash on the island that are adjacent to the scene, of course,
are not elaborated on until much later in the film.
Exactly. And then, lo and behold, John C. Reilly. And again, as he does in most movies, the subtle humor that feels in the moment, like a crazy man who's been lost for, I don't know what, 30-something years on an island.
It's not even an act. That's just who he is.
I know. But what I'm saying is, like, again, like even in the movie, like, when you think about the character in the moment, I think he said 28 years. He was been on the island for 28 years. A guy, young dude, gets stranded on an island with a bunch of silent indigenous people.
Yes.
Seemingly
apathetic, but very nice.
Yes, exactly. There's a point where you're like, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You're a little wacky. But again,
anyone would be.
I felt like it's, as I've said probably 100 times. I'm not sure if I said it on the podcast, though. I get kind of nervous about comedic reliefs sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like in certain movies, they've been done bad.
Yeah.
Where it's like...
You'd have a lot of experience with that. Your love of the Star Wars series, I'm sure.
Please don't bring that up. Yes.
I have to.
I know you do, and I get it. But there's a point where it becomes a crutch, or it becomes
like they go too hard.
Almost
on that one character.
Almost fourth wall breaking
in
the aspect of like, look at what we're doing, and you're like,
Like, wow,
you're
why?
you're kind of taking me out the magic here, you know.
Do not diverge.
That I didn't feel that way with John C. Reilly's character.
Yeah, he did good.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a few lines and one-off quips that I just thought were hilarious. That he said,
"Yeah,
East is best.
West is the worst.
West is the worst." That's what we say around here. Even though
it's true.
Even though he's the only one.
we say it.
He's the only one that talks.
Mm-hmm.
All the indigenous people don't talk.
Yep.
And so he's like, "That's what we say around here." That's just it. I was like,
"Who's we?
Who's
what we are you referring to?"
Because you're the only one talking.
The other voices in your head, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. I also like the one where like they finally get the boat working and they rekindle with all like they reconvene with all the other military guys and they're all kind of, it's like the first time in the movie where they all get back together.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go out and move on and try and get to the boat and get to shore. They're trying to progress.
Chapman first.
Yes, exactly.
Nice little bump in the road thanks to Mr. Jackson's character.
Yes. And then in the process of all that going on, John's character just walks over and looks at like the three other like military guys, young dudes, whatever. And he says, "You're a good group of boys. You guys are all just a good group of boys over here. You're a good group of boys to die with."
We're all gonna die.
And then he says, "You shouldn't have come out here. We're all gonna die." Whatever. But he says it so casually and so matter of factly that like all of the guys, even the guys that he's saying it to, are like,
"Of course they're unsettled."
I mean, what?
Excuse me?
Yeah. Okay. So, but it's just like little stuff.
Shit. After the shit they've seen, they probably believe him.
Yes, exactly.
I'd have no hope.
Yes. And it's just little stuff like that I think his character does a really good job of making it feel just right.
Yeah.
It was funny enough to where I felt like I was laughing at moments because, again, of the trauma.
It's definitely a kind of tight wire role to play.
Yeah.
I'll say. But he pulled it off.
Yeah.
Did very well.
He did really good. And then, of course, as it does sometimes, there's always like a heartwarming moment. Mm. But I didn't think it would be with his character.
Right.
That was actually surprising, and I felt really touched by that moment.
You start the movie with him, you end it with him.
Exactly. And again, at the end, it's basically
nice full circle.
Yeah. There's a little point in the middle where he talks about his wife and how right before he left for the war or was supposed to get back or whatever,
he got married.
Yeah.
Then
had a child.
Yeah. Before he crashed is when he got the letter.
And then that's kind of how they wrap up the movie, was the fact that in the moment on the boat that I was talking about, he kind of was like, even if they moved on or if they're not around or whatever happened to him, at least I can just see him one last time. That's all I need. That's all I need to do. I'm cool with that.
Yep.
Kind of coming to grips with it and coming to terms with all. And I was like,
of course he's going to see him again.
I get that. And then, of course, at the end, he really gets to see him, and it's like, oh, man, that's just
touching.
Yeah.
Very nice to see.
Because Tom Hiddleston's character says, like, you'd be surprised how people can wait, you know?
Yeah. And he was right.
Yes. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
It was good. The freaking fight scenes.
Oh, it's the one thing you can't fuck up with this kind of movie.
No. You probably can if you tried hard enough, but
now
they've done a good job.
It should be said that if you've grown up being a fan of these monster flicks like I have, your expectations are set pretty low from the start.
Really?
Given how most of the fights in the original films are structured.
Oh, yeah.
So
little slap fights.
Yeah, I always thought it was cool with the physical aspect of it because it's actually there.
Yeah.
Not like CG or anything. Not that there's anything wrong with CG. I have nothing against it. But there's just something about...
some visceral.
They call it suitmation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Everything they do to just like slow the camera speed and actually add a sense of scale to this guy in a rubber suit stomping through a city. Because, I mean, you've seen them. How good it looks.
Yeah.
I say good, but...
I mean,
I think it looks fun. Yeah, like fantastic.
There are some shots that I watched, where like the quote unquote ocean scenes in the original like Godzilla movies where like he's blasting out the ocean.
Oh yeah.
And the camera angles and camera shots are so well that it looks like he is coming out of a very large body of water. And of course
they had this big ass pool.
Yes.
In the back of their film lot that they'd use for that stuff.
Yeah, and he would just be coming up out of a pool screaming or whatever, and you're just like,
it's like, man, that is magical.
Yes, love it.
So good.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the fights went, oh my god,
wow,
that's pretty fucking good.
There was so many little things in the fights that, again, because we're talking about these huge lumbering monsters, the weight of it all, the water splashing everywhere.
Oh yeah,
the debris, and just all of it feels so like it hits a certain way, and you're just like, man, every time he punches this dude, or like I think at one point the creature moves and he like punches the rock or elbows or whatever, and it just feels like
you feel that.
Yeah, it just hits, and you're like, oh man.
That's what matters with stuff like this. If you got two big ass entities fighting each other, you need to be able to feel the weight that their blows carry.
It better sound like something's hitting something.
The benchmark I use, another legendary film, is Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Because Guillermo del Toro was smart enough to focus on that weighty aspect of gigantic combat.
Yeah.
And that is, I will forever sing the praises of that motherfucker. Because oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah. I've only ever seen that movie once.
Oh, we'll fix that. Don't you worry.
I've seen a handful of the fight scenes numerous times, but I've only ever seen the movie once, and I probably need to see that again.
Yes.
But I remember enjoying it, though.
Oh, yeah.
I like that movie a lot. But, again, just a little cherry on top to kind of finish this little discussion. I openly laughed because I thought this was hilarious, and it was also the climax of the fight, and it was so good. Is this creature, two-armed, I don't even want to...
Skull crawler.
Yeah, skull crawler. I just call them skull things, whatever they are.
Skull things.
Yeah, the skull things, as John C. Reilly would say.
Scullies.
Yeah, but they have like this extendo tongue thing at some point where like Godzilla has his right hand up, and then
Godzilla.
I'm sorry. It's late and I'm getting tired.
Oh.
Kong has
just cut it out in editing. It's fine.
No, it's fine. We've already talked about it. We just keep moving. He raises up his right fist, and the skull crawler thing like zaps his tongue out, wraps it around his forearm, and then like he tries to pull it, and like nothing happens because he has him by the neck in his left hand just to kind of put some perspective on it, and then in the process of pulling out, like he couldn't get it off and he couldn't figure it out. It makes me laugh to think he just shoves his whole fist down his throat. Just keeps going. And what I said was, when in doubt, just go deeper.
Crank it out.
and then he just, I'm assuming, either grab something or I don't know.
I'm sure he just pulled out real hard.
Probably so.
Took some stuff more than a tongue with him.
Yeah, you're right. He just kept going out. And then, of course, as you'd imagine, from being a very, as I've said before, brutal and very well animated movie, stuff comes with it. It is one can only assume the innards of this monster just splayed out for everyone to
esophagus,
see.
possibly the stomach.
Yes. Yeah, who knows? But it just all comes out with it. And you're just like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my Lord.
Brought something special to show and tell today.
Yep. And that was it. And I was like, man, dude. Wow. Good show.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's another thing I'd like to touch on is that he's still young in this movie.
Yes.
Not a fully grown mega primate. Of course, leading up to the next installment.
Yes. I'm scared for my Godzilla. I want him to be good.
I mean, I'm a little spooked. I'm pretty. Of course, Godzilla's gonna be fine. He's fucking Godzilla. He's the king of the monsters.
Of course,
you can't beat him.
No.
Even if you do, he comes back anyway.
Yeah.
But Kong has not had such a good history with lifespan.
Really?
Oh no, he's died in almost every movie he's been in, excluding this newest one.
Yeah.
which I'm very happy about.
That's good.
Didn't take the whole beauty killed the beast
Yeah.
way of
Yeah.
doing things.
Wow.
He sees the beauty and he's like, nah,
Yeah, no.
not this time.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Dang. I mean, he came pretty close.
Yeah.
There was a couple times where I was like, oh, man, if Kong dies here, I mean, like.
The whole intestines out of a hat magic trick he pulled off was because the girl was in his hand and the Skullcrawler was like, give me that shit.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
No. Oh, my God, dude.
My human.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to add, Dylan?
Oh, man.
I feel like that's a good episode we got right there.
That's good enough, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
Okay.
Not bad.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This has been another episode of the Aftermath Podcast. I think, hopefully, we're going to watch either The Breakfast Club next or Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Either one is just fine with me.
Yes, both of them are going to be great.
Good Lord, I miss both of them.
Yeah. So we need to get a good a good look at which one we want to have next.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we need to also figure out, again, like I said, in the little roadmap as to what's coming up after that.
Mm.
If you have any suggestions, let us know, because I'm totally down. We have a short list of movies that we want to watch. So
short.
Yeah.
It's a
very lengthy list.
It's ever growing. I got more movies today, motherfucker.
Oh my gosh, here we go. Anyways, so until next time, you can check out my link tree, and it should have all of our social media links, and also where you can listen to the podcast on Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff. So
not mine though.
Yes.
Leave me alone.
Until next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.